This is PlayerProps.ai. This for winners research. We run it up with every betting tool you know in each perk. Trevis tested waters, help you swim even if feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you PlayerProps.ai. This for winners research. We run it up with every betting tool you know in each perk. Trevis tested waters, help you swim even if feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you eat.
Hey guys, it's me, Trevis with PlayerProps.ai. This is what we're looking at for the NFL spread contest that pays $1 million to first place. We had a video, we went over this last week. We explained how it worked, but if you just discovered the YouTube channel or you didn't watch last week's video, in a nutshell, every single week of the NFL season, I have to choose 5 spreads. So 5 sides of either game. And I have the entirety of Thursday, Sunday, Monday games to choose from. If I get the spread correct, I get a point. If the spread is a push, I get half a point. If the spread loses, of course, I get 0 points. And I mentioned that you actually get paid prizes if you're the best and also if you're the worst. So I was fine with either side of the spectrum. I was like, okay, we want to start week 1 5-0, 4-1, 1-4, 0-5, because if we have the worst, I guess you could say the lowest amount of points through the first quarter of the NFL season, which is like what, 4 or 5, the first 4 or 5 weeks. I forgot if it's every 4 weeks, every 5 weeks. Not that there's 18 weeks of the season, it makes things weird. But anyway, any 4 or 5 weeks, if I have the worst amount of points and I chose 5 every single week, you can't just like not choose and try to get 0 points. You actually have to choose 5. But if you have the worst in a quarter, you get paid $25,000, and that's for every single quarter where you're the suckiest picker. So there's positives and negatives to both sides. Of course, if you're the best, you get a lot more money for being on the top, and then you're guaranteed over $1 million payout if you have the most points at the end of the entire regular season. So to recap, our week 1, we finished on the bottom side of that totem pole. For the ones that we wound up going, which I believe were the exact same ones, I think we actually locked them in on the show. We actually submitted them on the show. We believe we went 1-4. I'm trying to figure out the only one that hit. Let me actually, I thought I remembered, but I'm going to pull it up on my phone here real quick. Let me see here. What were our picks last week? Give me a second. Is this what it was? Yes. Okay. So we did Kansas. So we actually locked it in before Thursday night kickoff. We did Kansas, or maybe it was before Friday night kickoff. Yeah, we did Kansas City -3. As soon as Xavier Worthy got punched in the shoulder by his teammate Travis Kelce Swift, they did not have a very good game, and so Kansas City -3 didn't hit. I then had the Dolphins pick them against the Colts. Tua decided not to show up to that game, so the Dolphins did not win that, so that's 0-2. The Bengals to win by -5. I believe they won by less than a field goal, so that did not hit. They're a lot worse of a team than I thought they were, and we're going to remember that going forward. I had Tampa Bay -2. That's the only one that hit, and the last one was Houston +3, and they definitely lost by more than 3 points. So after week 1, we're 1-4, which, remember, this is a contest where you want to be on either side. The worst possible place you can be right now is 2-3 or 3-2. You're not on either side of the spectrum there. So we're one point away from having the worst points. So if this week we pick 5, so we're not. Let me phrase this before we get into it. I had a few people say this. You would think it'd be easier to pick 5 spreads that are not going to win. Like, oh, let's pick 5 losers, and then you're always going to, be on the bottom and you're going to win $25,000. This is not my first rodeo in this contest. It's not that easy to pick 5 losers. It's not that easy to intentionally try to find 5 spreads that are not going to hit. It's not. But so I'm trying to figure out, should we go for 5? I mean, it doesn't matter if we're trying to go for 5 winners or try to go for 5 losers. It's just whatever happens. But because we're still so early on in the season, the 4 losses we have, or the for so far for week 1, we can still climb out of that, and we can still try to chase that $1 million prize. Now, of course, getting $25,000 in the first quarter of the NFL season for having the most or the least amount of points is great. But I don't want to try to pick 5 losers, have them go like 2 and 3, and then I'm now at 3 points, and worst place is at 0. So we're going to continue to try to climb back out of the depths to try to get to that $1 million prize. But if we see like 3 weeks in that we only have like 1 or 2 points, then maybe for that show, for like the week 4, week 5 show, maybe we'll try to intentionally lose, even though I just told you it's very, very hard to intentionally lose in this contest. So what I do is this is the Circa Sports Twitter account. So they always like kind of post updates and stuff. So I did the Survivor video for you guys already on Sunday. Here's the recap, and I know it's very, very small and you can't see it, but it's essentially the thing I already pulled up on screen. The ones that are highlighted or that are kind of crossed out with a super light blue font, especially a ton on this side, those are all the ones that got knocked out. So there are, as of after week 1 results, the number here, which I know it's too small to read, which is why I'm reading it to you. The number here says 18,145. So I need 18,144 entries to still get knocked out for me to win $18 million. But that's the best part about football, is that, or I guess the worst part about week 1 for us is the Broncos they should have lost to the Titans. The Eagles should have lost to the Cowboys. That was a really close game. The Browns were a field goal from knocking out the Bengals. And then the Steelers almost lost the Jets. So we almost had a bloodbath. And if you didn't pay attention last year, week 1 had like 25% of the tickets get annihilated. The top pick of week 1 lost. And so we picked the Cardinals, which is this right here in the second tier. I already talked about what we're looking at for week 2. For anybody that's in a Survivor League, you can pay attention to that. But this is the contest we're talking about today. So out of all of the entries on planet Earth for this $1 million to first place contest, there were 49. So there are thousands of these. I don't know if there's 10,000. There's like 7,000 entries. A lot of people like doing the Survivor because conceptually it's just easier. You just pick a team that's that. So they don't really have that many entries. There's, what was there? Almost 19,000 Survivor entries, but there's only like 7,000 $1 million spread contest entries. 49 of them went 5-0, which means they're at 5 points. And then here it says 433 went 4-1. 23 people did not submit a pick at all. So I don't know if they didn't submit a pick because they wanted to see if they could game the system and try to get 0 points. But the fine print, which is what you should read on every contest, says if you don't pick anything, you're not eligible for anything. There are 328 people who did pick 5 and they lost all of them. So there's 328 people that are tied for that worst spot for that quarterly payout of $25,000. There's 49 people tied for the top spot. And then, like I said, we finished 1 and 4, so we have 1 point. So there's 1,400 people that I'm tied with here. But yeah, so we're going to focus on week 2, the same way we focused on week 1. We're going to focus on finding the 5 best spreads. Now, I was able to actually pull up the spreads for you guys because it was already Thursday. That's when they show these are the official spreads for the week, and they lock them and they don't change. Because we don't have that yet, we're just going to go based on the live spreads right now that we see on DraftKings and try to find the 5 we like the most. So let's now get into it. We did learn a lot in week 1, and that's kind of where the bloodbath comes from with the spread stuff, I feel like, because there's so many different people on new teams, different coordinators, different coaches, all kinds of stuff. But we got a week in, we learned a little bit, and now let's see if we can find something that we like. So we're not touching the 49ers or the Saints. So it depends on when we want to lock these in. We can't lock them in on the show because they're not available to be locked in. But you don't want to touch the San Francisco game because we don't know if Brock Purdy's starting or not. We know Kittle is out. But we don't know if Brock Purdy's starting. And I think they just released their kicker as well. Jake Moody just got fired, right? So they just released a kicker. Their tight end is out for a few weeks, George Kittle, and their quarterback may not play. I think if Brock Purdy is healthy, and if CMC is healthy, which he definitely look healthy on my fantasy team, or 2 of my fantasy teams I have him on, I think the minus 4.5 is nice. What I would hope is that this contest actually locks the current live spread before the Purdy news comes out, because that'll give us a cushion. Because remember, when they announce here's the week 2 spreads you have to pick from, they will never change after that. So if we can get a San Francisco minus 4.5 be locked in, and then Purdy's healthy and CMC's healthy and all that stuff, this is probably one we're going to go with. The Saints did keep it close. They actually almost got a was it a game-tying touchdown or game-winning touchdown against my Cardinals pick. They were like on the 25-yard line, and they almost had it. There's actually a guy in the end zone that dropped a catch that would have tied it. I can't remember what the score was of that game. But they're not the worst team in the world. They're still a professional football team, and Spencer Rattler wasn't the absolute biggest trash can we thought he might be. He wasn't great, but he wasn't as bad as Tua. Freaking Tua. So that's something to consider. So I'm right now selected 914. Oh, this is a question I get a lot as well. People are like, they see my show and they pull up my app and they go, where's NFL? If you're looking at today, which I'm recording this on Wednesday, September 10th, the day after my birthday, which shout out to all the people in the comments of the video we dropped yesterday. Shout out to everybody in the Discord wishing me a happy birthday. I appreciate all you guys. I mentioned this in Discord. If you've ever not been to a Brazilian steakhouse where they come around and they slice meat off your table, I do it every single year for my birthday, and I never regret it. Even though I physically regret it, it's always a great decision. Anyway, back to the show. You have to go up to the calendar, and you have to change the date to a date that has NFL games. So if I'm pulling up my app right now and I'm like, let me see what they have for college football today. College Football Saturday, guess what? You have to change the date to College Football Saturday. If it's on the 10th, it always shows you a circle on what today's date is. And then it shows you a blue circle on which date you selected. We selected the 14th, which is why we see games and projections for the 14th. So make sure that you're actually changing the date to see those games. What is it? The problem is with Thursday Night Football, is if you want to lock in the Thursday Night Football spread, you have to lock in all of your spreads. So you can't just do Thursday Night Football and then lock the other ones later. And I don't think there's ever going to be a Thursday Night Football spread that is worth me risking 4 more picks when I need as much news as possible right before that. So I will submit pretty much every week, like Friday at midnight is when I will typically submit my Survivor stuff and this stuff. So I almost will never pick the Thursday one because I have to submit all 5 picks at the same time. And I never want to kind of screw myself where I'm waiting on news, like with the Brock Purdy stuff here. So all of these are essentially the ones I pick from. And I also have Monday night as well, but we're not going to flip over to that until we're done with the Sundays. So if CMC is healthy, if Purdy is healthy, I like 4.5 here. The Jets, so right now, Buffalo has the highest percentage chance to hit. They have 61% here out of all spreads for Buffalo -7. I like -7 because I still get half a point if the Buffalo Bills win by 7. If it goes to -7.5 before it locks, it makes me like it a little bit less because they'll lose if they just win by a touchdown. But Justin Fields is not the worst quarterback, and he's super great at scrambling. And they did almost beat, and they put up a ton of points on the Steelers. The Bills just had one of the, if not the craziest comeback in Sunday Night Football history. I think they're riding that energy that they had in Sunday Night Football, and they have like 2 solid receiving tight ends, and they got James Cook, and their receivers are okay. I mean, I know they don't have Diggs anymore, but like everything's clicking on all cylinders for them, and they had that massive comeback against the Baltimore Ravens, which are a much better team than the New York Jets. So I like this at -7. I like it a lot less at -7.5 because my theory is always based on scoring logic. If you guys hear what I said on last week, or how I tell you to use the spread predictor and the money line predictor, I don't like spreads that are less than 3. If I'm looking at a team that's like, if it was like Team B plus 2.5, I would rather bet Team B's money line because it's a lot greater chance that they win the game by a field goal than they lose the game by less than a field goal, just based on how scoring logic works. Of course, there's safeties and extra point misses and a bunch of other scenarios where they can still lose by 1 or 2 points, but I'm not a huge fan of less than 3-point spreads for the underdog team, or for any team for that matter, because you have to pay attention on how they can actually get to that number. So Buffalo -7, if it doesn't go to -7.5, I like that one. If everybody's healthy, which is the only person that we know is not healthy for 100% fact at this point, is George Kittle out for weeks, I like San Francisco -4.5. Seattle has a... Let me pull up. That's what I'm going to pull up. I'm trying to remember the scores, the exact scores and the performances of these teams week 1. So Seattle barely lost to the 49ers. Of course, the 49ers are one of the Super Bowl favorites for the NFC side. I'm trying to think here. So I know that there was... I know JSN had a great game. But also Pittsburgh, like Aaron Rodgers had 4 TDs, and Pittsburgh had a nice, like a 34-32 score against the Jets. Pittsburgh also has, great receiving tight ends. They got decent receivers. I think we don't. Both of these teams have a new quarterback, so they got Aaron Rodgers, and Seattle has Darnold, right? So I think we need more data to go with this team. And also, I'm not going to say any more about this. We need to see one more game from each of these quarterbacks. Chicago had one of the biggest blunders of all time. Detroit got absolute embarrassed against the Packers, lost by 2 touchdowns. This is a division game as well. It's interesting because Chicago has the offensive coordinator from the Detroit Lions, which they're like, oh, Chicago's going to have a much better offense because Detroit Lions offense for the past few years clicked on all cylinders, and then the guy went over and now he's on Chicago. Detroit only put up 13 points because they don't have a great offensive mind, which is, I'm assuming, why the AI favors Chicago at plus 5.5. This is a very weird number, plus 5.5. Because it's possible they lose by a touchdown, which means they would, plus 5.5 would not hit. It's possible they lose by 2 field goals, which again, plus 5.5 would not hit. So, again, they don't have new quarterbacks, but the people calling the plays are now different for both teams. And I don't like this 5.5 number just from a scoring logic standpoint. I feel like 5.5 is a very strange number. So I don't think that I'm going to focus on this one here. We're going to go one more down to Denver. Denver had a decent week against the Titans. I mean, let me take that back. They almost lost to the Titans. Number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward. And Daniel Jones embarrassed the Dolphins, where he was I don't know if you saw this, he was the first quarterback of this century to lead his team to points on every single drive of the game. It was either a touchdown or field goal every single drive. No quarterback on planet Earth has done that this century. But sportsbooks still say the Denver should win by a field goal. This is a number that I like because based on NFL scoring logic, A, Denver is favored, which is why they have a favored spread, and B, this number means if Denver wins, if the game's tied, if it's a super close game and it's tied and they kick a field goal, whether it's at the end of the game or kick a game-winning field goal in overtime, this would hit. So based on scoring logic and based on the fact that I don't think the Colts are as good as they were against week 1, I just think the Dolphins were that bad. I don't think the Dolphins are that bad. They just were that bad. But, I mean, we're doing a PlayerProps.ai meetup a couple days from now on this date in NFL Sunday. We're all going to the meetup at the Miami game. So we'll see against the Patriots if they are actually a horrible team or if it's just a week one fluke situation. But Denver does have, I think, better coaching at the helm. They have an amazing running back in R.J. Harvey, who is from UCF, the best school on planet Earth for football. Denver, I mean, if I'm choosing between the two quarterbacks, I know Daniel Jones got demoted for a reason. Did he have an amazing fantasy performance against the Dolphins week one? Sure. But is he that great of a quarterback? He wouldn't be on a new team if he was that great of a quarterback. Bo Nix did not have a good game offensively. But we've seen an entire season of Bo Nix with Denver, and we know that he can be great. We only saw one sample size game with Daniel Jones with the Colts. So if we are agreeing, let's actually look at the money line for Denver real quick now that I say that. So Denver is actually the highest rated positive money line. So that answers the question for me. I was going to see what the AI thought of Denver's money line, and it's the most favored money line, which is at the top, which is why it's at the top out of every game that day. So minus 2.5 is a perfect number. I really hope it doesn't go to minus 3 before the spread's locked for this contest. So let's do a recap. We like Buffalo minus 7, as long as that number doesn't go higher. As long as Brock Purdy and CMC are healthy and neither of them are scratched, I like minus 4.5 San Francisco. We're passing on this game. So what are we at? 1, 2. We're at Buffalo minus 7, San Francisco minus 4.5. We've just added Denver minus 2.5. Carolina Panthers are 6.5-point underdogs. If the AI favored Arizona spread at minus 6.5, I would like that in theory because they can win by a touchdown and cover the spread. But when it's a +1, if a touchdown is the deficit between the Carolina Panthers and Arizona Cardinals, then they still lose because they lost by 7 points. So I don't like spreads that are plus 6.5. You have to hope they lose by 2 field goals and not a touchdown. But, I mean, a lot is the same with both of these teams. They have the same quarterback. They have a lot of the same faces, the same running backs. The only problem is here, this is very concerning here. Through 14 games where we've recorded stuff, they have a 21 where we've recorded a projection, a spread, and a result. I think 21.4 is the lowest accuracy out of everybody. 21. Yeah. Let me go up. 21. Yeah. The Carolina Panthers are the worst team when it comes to projecting spreads. Now, that doesn't mean that it's hard to predict their spread or if they're going to cover their spread or not. It's based on games that have Carolina Panthers in it, whether it's predicting that they cover the spread or predicting that their opponents cover the spread. The AI has hit it 21.4% of the time, which means the Carolina Panthers are a very unpredictable team, which, I mean, they are. They have a first overall pick quarterback in Bryce Young, and he hasn't really let us know if he's going to become a good quarterback or if he's going to always be a not good quarterback. And so this is something I'm going to stay away from. 21.4 is extremely low. And I know we just talked about Denver and Colts, and I'm not a huge fan of sub 40 accuracies, but 20 being the lowest one out of all of the NFL teams is definitely alarming. So and I don't like 6.5 on underdog anyway, so we're going to skip that one. So we're still at 3. Remember, Buffalo, San Francisco, Denver. We go one more down to Cleveland. Baltimore is a 12-point favorite roughly. So they can't win by just 10 points. They have to win by at least 12 points, or you can say 13, which is 2 field goals and a touchdown. Baltimore Ravens were absolutely embarrassed on Sunday night. They had a massive 15-point lead with I don't even know how much time left in the fourth quarter, and they blew it. The Browns, I think, are starting. I think Joe Flacco is still the quarterback. I mean, he wouldn't be starting if he wasn't an okay quarterback with all the 60 million quarterbacks they have on the roster. I think that because Baltimore was so embarrassed and Derrick Henry was so angry that the loss was his fault, because if he didn't fumble that ball, there was no chance that Buffalo would have came back and won that game. I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to take that embarrassment and they are going to push the pedal to the metal and not let up till the clock strikes 0. Derrick Henry is going to avenge his teammates for that loss, and he's going to absolutely annihilate the Cleveland Browns. That's why they're 11.5 favorites. But I think, even though they need more than a touchdown and a field goal difference to cover this spread, they're going to put up an insane amount of points on Cleveland. A, because it's a division game, but mainly B, because they were embarrassed on Sunday Night Football. So I'm going to add this as our fourth one. Baltimore spread is the fourth one. We have, Penix isn't really a new quarterback with Atlanta, but this is his first full starting season. I don't think he started week 1 last year with them. And then we have J.J. McCarthy, which it's so funny. This kid had all of the memes making fun of him, saying how trash he was for the first half of the game, because to be frank, he was trash. And then he had this amazing comeback, and he had one of the best comebacks for anybody in their NFL debut. We need to learn more about J.J. McCarthy. Not only do we need to learn more about J.J. McCarthy on, did he just get lucky against the Bears, or is he actually a decent quarterback in the NFL? So we still need to learn more about this rookie with an asterisk, because technically he was drafted 2 years ago. But also the Vikings having a 23.1. It's not as low as the Panthers games, but let's just say we stay away from sub 30 for now. So we need to know more about him, and I also don't like this number here. Go one more down. We have the Dallas Cowboys, which I don't think they have any glaring injuries from week 1. I don't think Dak's hurt. I don't think CeeDee's hurt, Jake Ferguson. So I think they have a better offense technically, because George Pickens is a better secondary receiver if he actually decides he wants to catch the ball. The Giants are... How do we put this frankly? They only scored 6 points against the Commanders. The Commanders, Commanders have a great defense, which is part of why that happened. But Russell Wilson had a horrible game. His quarterback rating was 59.3. He only threw for 168 yards the entire time. He took 2 sacks. Russell Wilson scrambled 8 times for 44 yards. His starting running back, Tyrone Tracy Jr., had 10 carries for 2.4 yards average per carry. I would say, I don't know. I was going to say if the Dallas Cowboys offense is better than the Washington Commanders offense, but Washington Commanders offense is pretty legit. Can Dallas, if Washington won by 15 points, which is 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion, can Dallas win by just a touchdown or 2 field goals? So I know they already announced that Russell Wilson is starting again for the Giants. They're eventually going to put Jackson Dart in, I can only assume, and then get him some reps. But I think... Did any team score less than 6 points in week 1? No. Okay. So no team scored. The only team that scored close single digits were the Texans at 9 and the Dolphins at 8. So yeah, the Giants scored the least amount of points in the NFL. I know Dallas has had Micah Parsons, but they did trade for a really good defensive tackle. I believe his name is Grant. As long as they're healthy, I don't see a scenario where they don't win by at least 2 field goals. This is a division game. Not to really Russell Wilson, because this is his first time in the division. But yeah, I think this is our 5th one or 4th one. Let's do a quick recap here. But I like the fact that they can win by 2 field goals and still cover, or a touchdown. Again, you have to consider NFL game scoring logic. So Buffalo -7. And this, we don't know yet exactly what the official spreads are that we have to lock in. We don't find out till tomorrow at noon, maybe late tonight. But Buffalo, San Francisco, Denver, Dallas. Did we not have a 5th one? Hold on. I thought we had a 5th one. Buffalo, San Francisco. We skipped this. Denver. We skipped this. We skip this. Okay, so yeah, we're only at 4. So Dallas is 4, so we need one more. Now, all 4 of those are technically favorites, and that doesn't mean that I always like to go for favorites. I'm literally explaining to you why I'm passing on a game or taking a game. It has nothing to do with if the favorites or not. Let me just see what the last few... Oh, no, yeah. Oh, we did have 5. It's just the Baltimore spread moved to minus 12.5. That's why I got lowered here, because the spread on DraftKings updated. I knew we had 5. Okay, so remember, I told you that they're going to embarrass the Cleveland Browns. So it was at 11.5. It's at 12.5. I hope that it's at 11.5 when it locks. We'll see what happens with that. But 11.5 and 12.5, they still have to have a touchdown lead and a field goal, or 2 field goals and a touchdown. I have 13 points. So I don't see a scoring logic scenario where they would have won by 12, but not won by 13. So I think I still like this, even though they got charged an extra point here. But we'll see what the contest says when it comes out. So yeah, that is the 5th one. So we had, I knew we had another one. Baltimore, Dallas, Denver, San Francisco, Buffalo. Yeah, so that was 5. So ladies and gentlemen, we eventually got there. Now that you fast forwarded the entire show to get to the end, because you ignore everything I say and you expect to be a successful bettor, which you never will be, because it involves you putting effort forth. And if you fast forward to the end of this video, you did the opposite of putting effort forth. Do not put these 5 in a parlay and then complain and whine like a little baby in the comments or in the Discord that you only hit 4 out of 5 and you lost all your money. That's not how we do things at PlayerProps.ai. And if your question is, oh, okay, I didn't know that. Trevis, how do you do things? The first thing you need to do is you need to go to our app, download it, create your free account, log in. In the very top, you see in the top left of the screen here, there's a little Discord logo. You tap on that, it gets you into the free Discord. And then, to make sure you're not a spam bot trying to ruin everything, you have to go back after you join the Discord. Go back to PlayerProps.ai and then click the icon to the left of the Discord logo. That takes you to your profile page. On your profile page, there's a big old blue button. Guess what it says? It says Connect Discord. You tap on the Connect Discord button, you log into your Discord, and it syncs your PlayerProps.ai account, the free one you just created, with your free Discord account. That's what opens up all the free channels. That lets us know you're not a robot. So if you haven't done that yet, then the system says you're a robot. So if you want to prove you're not a robot, you need to connect your accounts. And then the last part of that, once you connect your accounts, there's a channel called Bankroll Management. If you want to know why so many other people in Discord are winning and dropping winning screenshots on a daily basis and you are not, I guarantee you it's because you're not following the guidelines in that Bankroll Management channel. That's what separates the winners from the losers. So go to the Bankroll Management channel by doing those 2 quick things here. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see what happens. Again, even though it's week 2, we're looking for either side of the spectrum. We either want to go 5-0, 4-1 I'll allow, or literally like 0-5. Because we're 0-5, that means through 2 weeks we only have 1 point, and that puts us in a good driver's seat. Maybe not, I don't think we'll be tied for first. There probably will be some people that will be 0-10 through 2 weeks, but yeah, I definitely would like that $25,000 prize, even if it's a prize for having the worst record. So we're going to go to either side of the spectrum, and that's not the same with betting. Like, I'll be excited if I go 0-5 because I'm like, oh, I'm really close to that $25,000 prize. But if you're betting on a 5-pick parlay, you go 0-5, you're not going to be that happy. This is for these type of contests. This isn't for just throwing 5 spreads in a parlay and calling it a day. But make sure you subscribe to this channel. It's a free YouTube channel. There's a lot of things we go over. As you see up on screen, we have a week pass where you get 7 days for free. If you want more details about it, all you have to do is go to playerprops.ai/weekpass. That's it. /WEEKPASS. Weekpass. Open up Google Chrome, open up Safari, type in playerprops.ai/weekpass. All the details are there. But good luck this week, guys, and we'll see you on the next video for week 2 tomorrow.